Five Nights at Freddy's was supposed to end after the third game, but as you can tell now, it clearly didn't, because Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was made afterwards, and that is where it was supposed to end. But it didn't, because this location was made, and then Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator was made, and that is where it was supposed to end. But it didn't though, because FNAF VR came out, then Security Breach came out, and that brought back Springtrap. Yay! Considering how much has happened in Five Nights at Freddy's over the last 9 years, it's quite insane to think that this was actually supposed to end all the way back in March of 2015. On the 3rd of March 2015, the day after Five Nights at Freddy's 3 came out, a teaser was posted on scottgames.com which just shows Freddy's top out on the floor, subtly implying that the franchise is over. Then on the 27th of April 2015, a teaser was posted on scottgames.com confirming that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was going to come out on Halloween that year.
Bruh.
So for about 55 days, Five Nights at Freddy's was over. The reason why it didn't end at FNAF 3 is because Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was supposed to be this big epic finale that was going to end the series off in a bang. However, it wasn't. It was met with fairly mixed reviews. Some say it did exactly that. However, a lot of people said that the gameplay was repetitive and not very scary. However though, imagine an alternate universe, where Scott Cawthon just didn't listen to what people said and just thought, you know what, this is a good ending to this franchise and I'm not going to make any more. Every FNAF game that came out after FNAF 3 is erased from existence. The big thing that I'd be interested in is how popular would Five Nights at Freddy's still be 9 years after it ended? Well, during the 55 days of no FNAF, FNAF wasn't even close to being dead. Sure, it did decline a little bit in popularity, but I think that's mainly because FNAF 3 came out and the franchise was at its peak. And that's the thing, Five Nights at Freddy's was the most popular game series in the world at this point, so it's not like it's just gonna suddenly die just like that. The games were still popular and videos were still coming out about them. In fact, Game Theory's FNAF 3 video literally came out one day before FNAF 4 was confirmed. But if we were to say that FNAF 4 was never confirmed at this point, I don't know how long FNAF would have had left after that. Obviously, FNAF still had its fans at this point, but there were quite a lot of people that were just ready to let go of it at this point though. With popular FNAF fan game franchises such as The Return to Freddy's, Five Nights at Warriors and Five Nights at Fuckboys, releasing what was intended at the time as being the third and final installment of their respected franchises. So I would say that if FNAF 4 was never confirmed and it's late April 2015, FNAF probably has a month left. I mean, how long are we going to be debating stuff like, who is the purple guy, who do you play as in FNAF 1, what's the point of the Give Life minigame, were the robots made by the Nazis? If after 2.5 months all these questions were unanswered and Scott confirmed that there'll be no more Five Nights at Freddy's, I think people would probably stop talking about it. If you were to cut to the present day having FNAF ended at 3, FNAF would probably be remembered quite fondly by those who experienced it at the time. Between 2015 and 2024 there might be a few videos popping up like, hey, do you remember Five Nights at Freddy's? But if you were to ask most kids today, they would probably have no idea what the game is. Now let's talk about the FNAF movie. Would that have ever been made? A big thing to know about the FNAF movie is that was actually confirmed before FNAF 4 was confirmed. But I'm pretty sure at this point Scott knew that he was going to be making a 4th game but just didn't tell anyone. I think it's already a pretty risky decision to make a movie adaptation of a video game franchise that isn't even a year old. I think it's a bit too early to really tell at this point how long the game's popularity is going to last. But if the franchise is actually over, by the time the movie comes out, it's going to be completely old news and it's probably just going to alienate a bunch of people. Also, why would Scott want to make a movie adaptation of Five Nights at Freddy's when he isn't even going to continue the franchise anymore? So I think it's safe to say that if FNAF ended after 3, the movie probably wouldn't have even been planned. Another interesting thought is, would FNAF YouTubers still be popular? Well, I think the biggest FNAF YouTubers such as Markiplier and Jacksepticeye would still be popular as they were already famous before Five Nights at Freddy's and also do have a fan base outside of FNAF. I'm not too sure about MatPat as he was famous before FNAF, but I think these days people mostly remember MatPat for his FNAF theories, so I'm not sure exactly how long he would have stayed relevant if FNAF ended after 3. Corey Kenshin is also someone who I'm not exactly too sure how long would have been popular after FNAF, because Corey Kenshin has gained a massive following outside of FNAF, although FNAF is definitely what kicked off his career. So I don't know if FNAF ending after 3 would have really affected him too much. Although I think smaller YouTubers such as Dorko, 8-Bit Ryan and Razbowski might have became irrelevant after FNAF ended, as there are many YouTubers that became famous for FNAF and are pretty much only known for FNAF, so unless they became famous for something else, they probably would have became irrelevant after FNAF ended. The last interesting thought of what would happen if FNAF ended after 3 is what would happen to Scott Cawthon. This is something that could be debated for days, as he may have just retired after FNAF 3. I think that's a very likely possibility, as he was planning on retiring after FNAF 1. But if he didn't retire, he would definitely have a much bigger fan base than he did before FNAF. But the success of Five Nights at Freddy's is something that can't really be replicated. So if Scott didn't retire after FNAF 3, he probably would have been a bit more famous than he was before FNAF, however I don't think he would have really had many hit games. But who knows, this is just one big morbid video that is 100% down to speculation, and nothing that I've said in this video can be proven. One very last thing I'd like to talk about is what would have happened to me if FNAF ended after 3. This has been quite a crazy and also quite a hard video to make, because just imagine if FNAF was pretty much irrelevant for the past 9 years. Just no. But anyway, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this morbid video. Also let me know in the comments what you think would happen if FNAF ended after 3. Do you think it's different to what I've talked about? I'd be interested to hear. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and bye.